So I wanted to discuss the transmission because it's a bit unusual. I never received a long transmission like this. And it's connected to a dream that I had because when I had the dream back in 2018, it was about these people that were escaping this AI entity, and they had created this experiment called existence and source code. The supreme creator is the creator of the whole thing, and it's also an aspect of us. And yeah, so it was a bit trippy because I didn't know what to think of it, and I wasn't sure whether I would share it with everyone because it's so unusual and it's so echoing so many different ideologies in books at the moment. But I think what I took away from it, that is important that we clear our heart space and spend time there in the Christ consciousness, and that we connect straight to our source, the Supreme Creator, and hear what is coming up for each of us, I think. And although it's an unusual thing to share, I felt that it would be okay to share because it's not deviant from any. I mean, a lot of religious books talk about similar things, and sci-fi books and books about the origins of mankind. So I wasn't really expecting to receive some strange transmission like this, and not sure how to interpret it because it wasn't a dream. Because usually with my dreams, I go to the dream dictionary. But the dream that I had a long time ago in 2018 was, it was really felt like real. Yeah, and it was scary to experience such a dream because it's not something I normally would experience, and I didn't expect to be receiving transmissions around this time at all. So I wanted to talk about the lower vibrations, because my personal development practice is about like raising your vibration anyway, which is the healthy thing to do. And why is it so important? Because when we are in a low vibration, we create a lower frequency here on the planet, and we're connected to the events that happen here in this dimension, and we influence the events through the vibrations we're emitting. So this somehow had a relevance in this transmission because they were telling me that when we are emitting a low vibration, then we are bending the field and the field of creation. So they were also talking about the corrupted code of creation, which created all this misalignment in all the realms, in all the dimensions, especially on this one. And they were talking about like the different vibrations, like fear, anxiety, all these lower emotions, and the process of purification of our virtues that is important because we're all creators. We're co-creating the reality by what we receive through our senses and how we experience these emotions, and then it affects what gets created here. It doesn't mean that we should blame each other. I don't believe the purpose is that. I think the purpose is just to be mindful of the vibration we are carrying. And the way we do this is to spend time with the virtues and understanding the virtues, how we can cultivate them, and noticing, being conscious of when we are not in alignment. So we can be in the vibration of the Christ consciousness and create more peace on earth and more alignment and less conflict. It doesn't mean that we don't have disagreements, but we have to use our understanding and learn to release emotions, conflicting emotions, and those states in order to be in a more proactive, positive state of being, and conduct ourselves in a conscious way as much as possible, because we all have different beliefs and we all express ourselves very differently, and it's distinct. We can see all the books that get published, and we all have different political ideologies and beliefs. But yeah, so I think it's something that is interesting, that is correlating already with what is just normal and acceptable in our societies. And yeah, I wanted to also talk about radical self-acceptance. It's about changing from being judgmental to accepting that we all have flaws and we all can be corrupted. But if we practice self-awareness and radical self-acceptance, that there are flaws in our collective, there are parts that are corrupted, that we can then look with clarity and expand our consciousness and look for more solutions, to the problems we develop with one another. And be in a more, in a peaceful frequency, that it doesn't mean like, that you're not resilient or strong. It just means that you are not resentful and creating negativity where there should be clarity and understanding. Now, I understand in a conflict it's very difficult to embody those traits because we all want to be right. But if we spend some time detoxifying from certain emotions, when we see war projected on TV, if we're just angry at the war, we're just creating more negativity. So it comes from really understanding that we cannot, resolve violence with violence alone, but we have to observe it and understand the causes of what is really manifesting here. If there's a disagreement, there's confusion, there's two sides, and we can look at it with the light of consciousness and observe what is taking place and think of, what would be a positive solution. So if we all collectively meditated on war in a heart space, then we can start creating some changes externally to what is manifesting in our reality, because it's about how we feel about reality. That's how the world manifests, and it affects our nature, it affects how we see reality. So, and I shared this from a loving space. Like, I experienced like 12 years of chronic pain, and it's so easy to start looking to the world with the lens of perception that is infected by pain, and chronic pain is really depressive, I would say. So if we can perceive how we look at the world from a state of pain in our hearts, and we don't heal our hearts, then we are affecting what's happening around us with our pain and our anger and our depression, So we can attract those negative experiences, and it proves that our realities were right. And this happens in hypnosis as well. When I treat a client with depression or low self-worth or negative thinking, is often they construct the reality based on that filter of whatever the predominant emotion that they are feeling. So I interpreted the transmission in a way just to help us navigate through these times, and I prefer not to think about whatever entity is coming down here, but I thought I'd share this because I think it resonates with the process of ascension, and I never experienced a transmission like this before, and especially connected to a dream, which is so unusual, that I had I don't know, quite a few years ago. So I thought I'd share that. I normally have precognitive dreams about things that have happened, that occur. Like, an example is, like, I had a cousin and he had a girlfriend and she wasn't well. And in the dream, I kept seeing her going to all these parties and consuming lots of substances. So I called him and he kind of told me, yes, she's not well. How do you know about it? I was like, I've been having dreams about her. And yeah, so like in the end, she ended up being sectioned. In the dream, I saw all these things and I was trying to stop it in reality. But I'm not alarming anyone. I'm just saying, like, I've always had precognitive dreams, and this is an interesting one, and I'm open to interpretation, but this was a transmission, which is a bit different, and I think it's quite significant with the process of awakening. And again, I don't want to make anyone feel alarmed or nervous or anxious because we're beyond that. We are all adults, and we all have dreams, you know. And a transmission is something that I never thought I would express that I received. And I think it's interesting to share for those who need inspiration on their personal development. And that's all I have to say about that. But I will do another post or continue on the topic I was talking about, emotions and how our vibrations affect our reality, our feelings affect our reality. I think that's quite useful. And I hope you can keep joining me and be open to this material as I'm opening myself to it as well. I wish you unconditional love.